Good morning. I just want to share a brief word from the book of John chapter number 15 verse 1 to verse number 10. The topic of the message is depending on God's supply to sustain you in times of needs. This is the paragraph in which Jesus is giving an illustration. He's trying to show us how the branch, the vine, and the gardener is related. He says that I am the vine, and you are the branch, and my Father is a gardener. Therefore, if you can abide in me, you'll be able to be fruitful. But if you are cut away from the branch, when you are cut away from the vine, you will die and you will cease to live. Therefore, he's trying to show us how the branch depends on the vine for water, for provision, for support, and for existence. He's telling us there's no way a branch can survive outside the vine. We're also trying to put across how the vine and the branch is owned by the gardener. Therefore, in this example, I just want to show you that we can survive and be sustained when we are in God. And I just want to give you some few points here that will help you to get deeper and to understand exactly what this paragraph is trying to show. Now, number one, you need to have identity in God. Know your identity. Know who you are in God. Jesus is saying that He Himself is the vine, and we are the branch, and the Father is the gardener. So He's trying to give definition and explanation of who everybody is. And therefore, for you to get sustenance and provision from God, then understand who you are in God. In many verses in the Bible, we are told that we are the children of God. We are the heirs of the promises. We are partakers of the covenant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God called us His own. And therefore, we should realize and discover that our identity is found only in God. He is the creator and we are creation. He is the Father and we are His children. He is the maker and we are just the product of His work. Therefore, there is a God who created us. There is a God who formed us. And we can only be sustained in Him, for He created us with the reason and with the purpose. We live to serve His purpose. We live because He created us to achieve and to accomplish something under the sun. Therefore, never forget your identity. Know yourself, who you are in Him, so that you may be able to get a title of the blessings and provisions from God. Number two, know your relationship and association in God. You see, Jesus is trying to show us how the vine is related to the branch and how the vine is related to the gardener. What is bringing across is the issue of relationship and association. You see, we can only depend on God if we are in relationship with Him, if we are associated with Him. Outside His circle, then we are not entitled of any blessing. We are not entitled of any favor. We are not entitled of any provision because we don't belong to Him. Him being our Father, Him being our Creator, Him being our Sustainer, then He is there to provide for us. He's there to take care of us. He's there to meet every need in our life because we are related in Him. We are His sons. You see, we are the members of His house, and therefore, for that reason, we are sure to receive every provision, every sustenance in times of need. Do you remember how He saved the Israelites from Egypt? Because He was in covenant with their father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When they were in the desert, He provided everything they need. He met them to their needs. He sustained them for 40 years because they all belonged to Him. They had a relationship with Him. He's a God of relationship. He's a God of covenant. And therefore, for us, we also need to make sure that we are in a relationship with Him. We have to make sure our relationship is good, is perfect. We have to create that intimacy with Him in terms of prayer, in terms of fellowship, in terms of reading and sharing His word. We have to keep that relationship alive. We have to keep on being in association with Him. We must remain in fellowship with Him, in His association, in His companion, because we belong to Him. Number 3, you see, we need to depend on Him. Just as a vine, just as the branch depends on the vine for water, for support, for nutrients, for sunshine, the same case, we also need to depend on God. We have to rely in Him. We have to get everything from Him. In every situation that we are, in every condition in our life, let us depend on Him. Let us depend on His sustenance and His provision, because He's there to give unto us. He's there to meet our needs. He's there to bless our life and to answer each and every prayer that we make before Him. My brother and my sister, don't depend on your power. Don't depend on people. Don't depend on your business. Don't depend on your family. You see, this corona season, it has come to reveal to us that things may come to an end. When foundations are shaken, sometimes we may lose everything that we had put in trust, we had put in hope, we had put our confidence in. The things that we rely to sustain our life, the source of our sustenance, we might lose it in one way or the other. But if you depend in God, God is the only source that cannot dry. God is the only source that is sure. God is the only source that is reliable. Our business is not reliable. Our political leaders are not reliable. Even churches are not reliable. Families are not reliable. Money is not reliable. We can only rely in God. We can depend on His power. We can depend on His Holy Spirit. We can depend on His grace. We can depend on His mercy. We can depend on His blessings, because He is reliable. As the branch depends on a vine, let us depend in God. Let us depend on His word. Let us depend on His prophetic utterance. Let us depend on His grace that will sustain us in times of need. Now, the other thing is, we need to be connected in Him. As a branch connects itself to the vine so that it can get provision and sustenance, the same case also in our life. We need to connect ourselves in Him. We have to link ourselves in Him. We need to be grafted in Him so that we can be able to get sustenance and supplies from Him. God is the only source that we get provision. He's the only source that we get supplies from. And therefore, my brother, therefore, my sister, be connected in Him. Make sure you are totally linked in Him. Allow not anything to disconnect you from His purpose. Allow nothing to detach you from His promises. Allow nothing to remove you from the source of your life. Remain connected in God. As the power source depends from the connection so that it may be supplied to the television and to the radio and other instrument, the same applies to us. Let us plug in Him. He's the source of power. Let us plug in Him, because our provision comes from Him. Our supplies come from Him. Without Him, we cannot survive. As a branch cannot survive if it is disconnected from the vine. The same manner, the same way, we cannot survive. My brother, be connected in God. Be knitted together in Him. Try to link yourself in Him. Link your business, link your family, link your social life, link your destiny, link your spiritual life in Him, so that you can get provision to sustain you in times of need. And finally, number 5, abide in Him. Abide in Him. Jesus is saying, as the branch abides in the vine, so that it may become productive, so that it may bear more fruit, the same manner we should abide in Him. Abide in His promises. Abide in His covenant. Abide in His word, so that we may receive provision to sustain us. Jesus says that if we love Him and His love abide in us, then we will ask anything from the Father and it will be given to us. Therefore, my brother, my sister, in times of needs, try to abide in Him. Be rooted in Him. Be grounded in Him. Be grafted in Him. Abide in Him. Remain in His circle, because that is only where you can get provision. When you abide in God, you will receive divine provision. You receive divine preservation. You receive divine guidance. You receive divine protection that will help you in times of need. Abide in His covenant. Abide in His word. Abide in everything that He has said concerning your life. And by doing so, you receive blessings and favor that will sustain you in times of need. Those few remarks, may the Lord bless you, and abide in Him, depend on Him for your sustenance. God bless you.